I watched Mulan when it came out. I was a huge Disney fan. Okay, but I was like so hooked on The Little Mermaid, and you know how hot Ariel is. So when I saw Mulan, I'm like, who's this? Like, I'm sorry, it's like they purposely drew all the Asians not that hot. Okay,
that's your takeaway.
Even the characters from The Lion King looked hotter than everyone from.
Wow, okay.
There's
some real.
So this week's movie is Mulan, which of course showed an example of a woman being empowered, and who knows how historically accurate it is. I was gonna look it up and then I ran out of time, but whatever. It's a cartoon. It's got some themes. Let's dive into it. Let's start first with Anna Luo. What did you think of Mulan, and what resonated the most for you?
Everything about this movie makes me so happy. Like, not gonna lie, I watched this movie like once or twice a year. Like, I know all the songs word by word. I know, I'm such a fucking loser, but anyways.
I love that.
Yeah, it's cool. It just like I feel really proud every time I like watch this movie. The story's amazing. You have this like heroine who literally risks her life to protect her family and ends up like saving China. Although I'm not sure if the story is like accurate because it is a Disney retell of the story. But it is a folklore that's been around since 600 AD.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just love how the gender roles are like not, they're kind of being squashed, because you see a woman who like disguises as a man, goes off to war, and then they find out she's a woman, but the guy spares her life because she ends up saving his life. And it's kind of cool. Like they could have just, killed her right there and then. But I think actually Leonard's going to talk about how in one of the versions of that story, she does die. But yeah, this movie's great. Like at the beginning of the movie, you see her go to a matchmaker, which is like a really big deal because this is her chance to like find someone to marry. And it's funny because my aunt was a matchmaker in China, like to this day. Yeah, like so she's. I remember when she came to Canada, she was asking, "Hey, do you know any lonely old rich white dudes who want a Chinese wife?"
And I love that they had to be white.
He was like, no, they're for me. They're not for you. They're for me.
I don't care how rich they are. They got to be white.
So she probably has a whole binder full of like lonely women or guys or whatever, and maybe she wanted to send them to Canada. Like people pay a lot for that. Oh,
this is like some 90-day fiance shit.
Well, that is only the second mention of binders full of women that I've ever heard. So that's thank you for bringing that back in an election year. So let's head over to Leonard to talk about his tragic version of Mulan where she dies. What is going on?
Yeah, so there's many versions of Mulan, right? So it started as a poem, it was a ballad of Hua Mulan. And that was much nicer, more like the Disney version. She was actually like much more heroic, actually. But then there was like I think it was like Sang Tui or something like that. It was like another story, and then anyways, like it doesn't go well. Like the emperor dies and the Khan takes over, and then she goes back to her place, and then her dad is just dead, and her mother's remarried, and then she's summoned back to be a concubine, and she's like, well, fuck this, and she kills herself. So that is the alternate version.
Why would you tell that story?
Oh no!
Disney did not. Disney did not want to put that one up because then it'll be very difficult to have a sequel, which they did have.
What's the arc of that story? Oh, somebody tried to do something and they failed, and then they lost everything and killed themselves.
That's reality.
Yeah, it's the.
What's the arc?
The non-Disney version.
Get Dan Harmon on this thing. We need a better story circle.
Like her father's conscripted, and then she decides to dress as a man and go, and just nothing really works out.
Yeah, I will say that Asian cinema in general is not as huge on the happy endings. Like there's times where a movie totally wraps up, and when it hasn't ended, you're like, why has it ended? And you're like, oh, they're gonna do some crazy, horrible death twist instead of giving us a happy ending.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, like most of the fairy tales that most of the Disney movies, if you go back to the original fairy tales, they all don't end well. All right,
I think it's funny that Vong was saying Asian stories don't have happy endings when massage parlors just. I just want to point the irony out, okay?
Well, you know what? I look forward to see the new Disney movie Rub and Tug. It's like the new Timon and Pumbaa. It's Rub and Tug.
Wasn't that the name of that movie that Scarlett Johansson was gonna play a trans woman or trans man? So she's just everywhere with her. Yeah. Anyway, let's not get into Scarlett Johansson right now.
Speaking of Asian women,
yeah, when can we get into Scarlett Johansson? I've been waiting in line for so long.
I mean, you got to ask Scarlett Johansson. Consent is very important.
Okay, let's move on to Jennifer Shung. What are your thoughts on Mulan? And did you actually watch the movie of the week this week?
I did. No. Oh my God. Oh.
This is what you get for being late.
About Ginobili.
Ginobili? Just Studio Manu Ginobili.
Wait, did you say Studio Chernobyl? I know the deer was
Freudian slip, okay? Because like nuclear, Kawasaki, Chernobyl, Ginobili. Okay.
You know what? Like when you do a Freudian slip having to do with Japan, maybe don't go nuclear on it, huh?
I'm sorry. Okay, look, I didn't finish the Ghibli movie, but Mulan, I did watch, like Anna, I watched Mulan when it came out. I was a huge Disney fan. Okay, but I was like so hooked on The Little Mermaid, and you know how hot Ariel is. So when I saw Mulan, I'm like, who's this? Like, I'm sorry. It's like they purposely drew all the Asians not that hot. Okay.
That's your takeaway.
Even the characters from The Lion King looked hotter than everyone from.
Okay. There's some real
reference. Grown-up Nala, straight up.
Super. Oh God, she is the puss. Like seriously. So maybe because I'm so vain, I admit that. It wasn't my favorite Disney movie because as a little girl, I was just like, she's not as pretty. Where are her eyelashes? And even the matchmaking scene, like they made the matchmaker resemble Ursula. Okay. Queen. And all the other, like they painted her face white like a geisha. That's Japan, fucking Disney. Are you stupid? Get your history correct. I don't know any Chinese concubines that painted their face white like a ghost. That's not accurate.
To be fair, this movie, I think it came out like...
Okay, Peking opera, yes. But are they going to an opera or are they going to go catch a husband? Like, which is it? You know what I mean? Is it a performance or is it like I don't think you do dress like that for your wedding. Like,
you know how Asian men are into white girls. Come on, we've established this between me and Sebastian.
You want pale skin proof to people you're not working in the rice fields.
Yeah, I like the movie. Look, I think it was very good. I think when Frozen came out, people were all like, "Oh my God, it's the first pro-feminist Disney movie," and I was like, "No." Mulan was, but because she was so ugly, no one cared. Ooh. That's the problem. Like, they could have made her like so much hotter and they didn't. They gave her the bushy man triangle eyebrows, like very slanty, like almost vertical eyes. Like they were so slanted, they were almost vertical. Like that's racism to me a bit. And look, I like the story. But doesn't she eventually fall in love with the commander? Isn't that kind of like a Me Too movement going on there? Right?
No, he fires her first, so there's no conflict of interest.
Yeah, but don't they hook up? She's succeeding her power to like the hot general. Like she became the Daenerys to that Khal Drogo right there. Okay, anyways, I'm done my rant. I love Mulan. Watch it. Watch it.
I can forgive like the slight racist depictions of it because like Disney is known for like, I don't know, like the Dumbo crows.
Oh, right.
And Walt Disney's rampant anti-Semitism. I think this turned out pretty well considering.
Yeah.
I'll chalk this one up in the win
And
category.
when Donald Duck said the N-word, that was brutal.
Oh yeah, let's not forget that ever.